Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. We're looking at a baseball game specifically focusing in on the FCLL Commotion. You sent us the score sheet and a summary from their game on Saturday, April 5th, 2025, against the Lady Dodgers. And we're going to pick apart everything interesting, all the accomplishments, the noteworthy plays, everything good about the Commotion.
Yeah, we're going to focus on the commotion of this one. So while the score may tell one story, we're going to look at all the bright spots and really dive into their performance.
Exactly. And speaking of the score, the Lady Dodgers won this one 15-2. But those two runs by the Commotion, that's what we want to focus on. They happened in the bottom of the second inning. And it's really interesting to look at how those runs actually happened.
Yeah. Even though it was a high-scoring game for the Dodgers, it was a real achievement for the commotion to get those two runs. Scoring in baseball is not easy. It's all about stringing together a series of positive plays, and in this case, they did that twice in that second inning.
That's right. And it's also interesting to note that these two runs were scored by Ivory B, their catcher, number 1, and Isabel S., their first baseman, number 13.
Yeah, for sure. The runs weren't all from one part of the lineup or anything. The fact that you had the catcher and the first baseman both crossing the plate shows a real team effort to get those runs.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at what fueled those runs. If we looked at the batting, there were 3 players on the Commotion who got hits in this game. Isabel S., who also scored a run, got a hit. Olivia M., number 2, the third baseman, got a hit. And Jalen M., the shortstop, number 5, also had a hit. 3 hits in a game, that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those hits wasn't just any hit. It was double by Isabel S. And that's a huge offensive play. It gets the batter into scoring position. It counts as 2 total bases. Really shows you made solid contact with the ball.
Oh, yeah, that double by Isabel S. was one of the most exciting moments in the game for the Commotion, for sure. And speaking of exciting moments, the other 2 hits by Olivia M. and Jalen M., those actually both resulted in an RBI, a run batted in. So those hits didn't just get them on base, they actually directly resulted in the 2 runs.
Right. An RBI shows that the batter made a play that directly, brought a runner home. So Olivia and Jalen, they stepped up when it mattered, and they really delivered.
For sure. Now, looking at the total bases, we can get an even clearer picture of how effective these players were at the plate. So Isabel S. had 2 total bases, thanks to that double, and Olivia M. and Jalen M., they each had 1, which is likely from a single, since they each had an RBI. So all 3 of them were hitting the ball well and moving runners around the bases.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Total bases is really, it gives you a better idea of how impactful the batter was. And since extra base hits like doubles are more valuable in this metric, Isabel S.'s double really stands out. That was the most effective at bat for the Commotion, no question.
So let's take a quick look at the pitching side for the Commotion. Brooklyn R., number 99, started the game on the mound. The stat shows she pitched .2 innings, faced 17 batters, and got 1 strikeout.
Yeah, and she faced a lot of batters in a short time, but getting that strikeout, that's a real positive thing. That means she was able to shut down the batter with her pitching.
Right, and after Brooklyn, Jalen M. came in to pitch. She pitched for .1 innings, and she faced 7 batters.
Yeah, in a game like this where the other team is scoring so many runs, it can be tough to come in as a relief pitcher. But Jalen stepped up and took on that challenge, facing all those batters.
That's right. Now, one last point on the offense. The Commotion left 3 runners on base.
Yeah, that's always tough, leaving runners stranded. But it does show that they were getting people on base. They just weren't always able to bring them all home. So it's not all bad. It shows they were creating opportunities to score.
Yeah, definitely. So despite that, they still had a good game. They had 3 hits, including that double, and 2 RBIs. It shows that they were able to make things happen on offense. Isabel S.'s double was a huge moment, a real testament to their offensive potential. And Olivia and Jalen, getting those RBIs, that really shows how clutch they can be.
Exactly. And even though the final score wasn't in their favor, these offensive successes are really important for the Commotion. It gives them something to build on for next time.
Absolutely. So to recap the highlights for the FCLL Commotion, they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the second inning with both Ivory B. and Isabel S. getting home. They had 3 hits, 1 from each of Isabel S., Olivia M., and Jalen M., with Isabel S. getting a really impressive double. And on top of that, Olivia and Jalen both got an RBI. Those are the big takeaways for the Commotion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those moments, those achievements. They really matter. They show what the team is capable of, and they can give them some real momentum going forward.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final thought for you today. When we look past the final score and we focus on those specific moments, we can get some really interesting insight. In this deep dive into the Commotions game, we've seen 3 hits, including that fantastic double, and 2 RBIs. So what can we learn from that, regardless of the final outcome? Maybe the real lesson is in how they created those scoring chances and how they can do that again in future games. It's not just about the score, it's about understanding how they got there.
Yeah, that's such a good point. When we focus on those offensive successes, it really gives us a good sense of what the Commotion can do. It shows us their strengths, and it gives them a foundation to build on for future games.
That's right. So until next time on the deep dive, keep your eyes on those individual moments. Sometimes that's where the real story is.
Absolutely. See you next time.
Oh.